So I'm going to go ahead and click on record, and we'll get going here. All right. I hope everyone's having a great summer. I know there's been some wild weather and crazy things going on in the world, and I just hope you all are staying safe and healthy and sane. And hopefully Walk with Ease is a bright spot in your lives. I think that this is going to be a pretty short call today, unless you all have a lot to contribute and questions. I don't have huge updates. Well, they're exciting updates, but they're not anything that's lengthy or involves a lot of demonstrations. So we'll just kind of jump right in and then see what you all have for the call today. Just as I often do, I want to remind you all of the portal resources page. I'm going to go ahead and put a link to this in the chat. This website includes all of the directions for setting up your portal. It includes directions for the InfoPort ordering system, the online ordering system. It has a document for how to create basically a quick link on your smartphone to the portal. So definitely kind of go to that and keep it bookmarked. It's a great resource in case you need to know something quick and maybe I'm not available to answer your questions. That's a good place. So as far as portal updates, we haven't released any new features since the last time we all had a call, but we're working on a couple of things right now that are pretty exciting. The first one is that we are going to begin sending out texts and emails to participants with a link directly to complete the evaluation form. So they will not have to log into their portal. They will be taken directly to the survey from the link that they are sent, and their survey responses, their evaluation survey responses, will be recorded directly in the portal, but they won't have to log in to do that. So our goal there is to really boost the number of post-program surveys or evaluations, as we're calling them, kind of boost the data that we're getting from people after they complete the program. So I know last time on the last call, I talked about how we were doing the text to log feature. So that was really our effort to get more data as people were completing the program, get more walking data. And now this is our effort to get more of those people completing the evaluation as well. So I'm really excited about that. I think that should be pushed out in the next couple of weeks. I hope all of you are seeing an increase in the number of people who are logging their walks in the portal because of that text to log feature. I know that we at the OA Action Alliance are definitely seeing a boost in the number of people logging their walks. It's been pretty significant. And so I'm hoping that this again will increase the number of people who are completing the evaluation. And I hope to see a pretty marked increase there. Any questions about that? Okay. The next thing that I've kind of, oops, hang on, I just see something in the chat. Okay, sounds great. Great. Yep. I hope it works well. Thanks, Ellen. The next thing that I've kind of alluded to in the past is a maintenance section. We do know that, of course, the program, the Walk with Ease program, is a six-week program, but oftentimes people are kind of just finding their stride at the end of that 6 weeks, and they're getting into a good rhythm, and they want something that helps them kind of continue the behavior changes and the habits that they have formed throughout the 6 weeks. And so we are building on kind of another section for people if they want to continue to log their steps and get those weekly reminders to log their walking and to set their goals. Right now it's going to be pretty standard. It's going to look a lot like what the portal looks like. But we do envision that in the future, that maintenance section will be really robust. We'll have even the ability for people to register and use that section for other physical activity, not just for Walk with Ease. Maybe they need, some support in setting goals and tracking their activity if they're a cyclist or a swimmer or those kinds of things. So for the next, year or two, maybe more, it's going to be very just kind of continue to allow people to, kind of continue with their behavior change. And then after that, we're going to make it more robust. So I'm really excited about that. I think it answers the question of what next for these people who are getting going and making such positive changes in their lives. So I hope that's a positive thing. So any questions about that? Let's see, Lakin, when a participant is in maintenance, will they still be kept in their group? So they'll still be tied to the portal. They will still be tied to whatever they registered for in the portal. But we aren't sure yet whether or not there will be a connection with like the coaches and have kind of the ability to send out emails and that kind of thing. That's what we're still fleshing out. Lakin, did you have a specific idea or question about that, or?
That was what I was wondering, is if like the coach would be able to still contact them, or if the coach would only be able to contact those who are in their 6-week phase. So thank you.
Yeah, I think that we will still have that ability. We just haven't fleshed that out yet. But it's good to hear your thoughts. Would that be helpful?
I don't know. I would say yes, just because a lot of our groups are individuals that have been walking on their own for so long. And this is just a way to help them track it. So after that 6 weeks is over, I think that they would still want to be able to be in contact with each other and have those ad hoc walks and things like that hosted by their coach.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you think there would be a benefit of being able to, so let's say you have a group at a senior center or something like that, and you have kind of a rolling group, so people are completing the 6 weeks, they're going into maintenance. Would it be helpful for the coach to be able to contact those who have, quote unquote, graduated or completed separate from those who are still in the program?
Yeah, I think so. And so whenever they contact them, would it be kind of like a mass message feature? Would they have to figure out a way to like individually go through each person, and they're kind of how it's set up now where they have to like individually message everyone? Could they like group them together?
Yeah, that's actually, thanks for reminding me. That's actually something that we have on our wish list right now to do that, to send group emails. So yeah, I'm thinking that maybe there could be like a senior center, whole group, graduates, current group or something like that. So you could kind of separate it out.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. Great. And Greg, I see with the maintenance section linked to the AF Live Yes tool. I don't know. That wasn't part of our vision. So let me step back and tell you that the reason why we are building this maintenance section and kind of going forward with this right now is because we are in the midst of a planning grant for NIH. And that grant is focused on Camine con Gusto, so the Spanish version of Walk with Ease. And there will be several groups. So we're in the planning phase right now. We're going to apply to NIH for a research grant to actually study different groups and different interventions. So we want to make this maintenance section as clean as possible and not kind of muddy up things. So I don't know if bringing in the Live Yes tool, do they have that in Spanish?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, it's just one thing I just looked at recently. Nick has talked about like how to maintain programming and form support groups. I just thought he might have even wanted that to be built in at some point as well, but I don't.
Okay.
And Live Yes might not be the right. That's an example of one thing that you can connect to, but I think he also talked about support groups separate, or that people can, after they finish, could continue walking with others or.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. I will make note of that and chat with the research team, see if that would be
Yeah.
good. Yeah.
But maintenance would be great. Yeah.
Great. Yeah, if anyone has any other ideas of how, as I said, it's going to be very just kind of basic at the beginning, but we are going to continue to flesh it out over, the next, 5 to 10 years, hopefully. And it's helpful to have these ideas ahead of time because our developer then can build in what she calls doors and windows. So she'll build in kind of this maintenance section, but she likes to have ideas of what we want down the road so that she can build a door or a window for it.
Mhm.
So definitely, as you're thinking about these things, let me know. Okay, will group messaging No, the group messaging is definitely on our radar for sooner. It's not something that we are actively doing right now, because we're focusing on the two things that I already mentioned. But the group messaging will, I would say, in the next year. Another thing that we are working on, hopefully within the next year, is to have the ability for a coach or an administrator to enter basically register multiple people for the program at once. So if you have a coach at a senior center or something like that, they could register 10 people in the portal all at once. And so the individuals wouldn't have to go in one by one and register themselves, which we hope will help with any like tech barriers for people who are low tech or no tech, but still want to get like those emails sent to them or the text sent to them or the text to log feature. So I would say those two things within the next year, in addition to these other items. Okay. Any other questions? Okay, I want to just take a minute to see if anybody needs any portal features clarified or demonstrated right now. This is a great time for me to do any demos of anything that is not clear to you or that you're struggling with or haven't, maybe a feature you haven't used yet because you're unsure of how to use it. So any questions?
Serena, this is Ellen from Oregon.
Yeah, hi, Ellen.
Hi. We over here in Oregon, we just use the portal for our self-directed program.
Mhm.
And so it's kind of just been a plug and play for us. We just kind of let it go. And so I'm not familiar with any of the like the last quarter updates. So, and I don't want to take anybody's time, but I would be happy to see what some of the newer features are.
Yeah, let me see. So,
And I don't know if like the text features, those are just things that people will opt in for. That's not really something as the administrator needs to, me as the administrator needs to follow up with or create any content for those.
right, yeah. So hang on a second. Let me. Definitely, I would definitely say to go ahead and review the recordings of the call from last week. I'm trying to get to my or last quarter. Okay. So I'm gonna switch over my share to the portal really quick. Okay, so this is our portal, our OA Action Alliance portal homepage. So what I demonstrated last call was this ability to set your communication preferences. So, Ellen, I don't think that this really matters whether they're doing it self-directed or if you start using this for in-person, walk with ease. But this is what we talked about, the communication preferences. So prior to this update, basically the only option was this right here, this motivational messages. So you're familiar with this. We've been sending out weekly emails just with content, encouraging messages, things to do this week, for the program. And it had been just sent by email. We updated it so that they could either select text, email, or both. So that would give them the option if they didn't, have an email or prefer to have things sent to their phone directly, that they could get those messages that way. The text to log your walks was another thing that was updated, and this is the ability for basically participants to log their walking just by responding to a text message on their phone. It is an opt-in feature, so they have to choose one of these things. So daily, weekly, not interested. So it's not an automatic thing, but they do have to choose one of those options. Basically, if someone chose to get a daily text message, they would get a text from our system that says, how many minutes did you walk yesterday? And they could enter from 0 to, I think, over 400 minutes. I don't know that anyone would walk 400 minutes, but perhaps. So, and then their response is actually recorded directly into the portal. So you as an administrator would be able to see what if they log into the portal, would be able to see what they recorded. For the weekly, they would only get that email once a week. And that is basically, they would have to be keeping track of their minutes walked for the week and then enter a total number at the end of the week. And then, of course, they could just not sign up for that. So that was the main thing that I covered in the last call. Let me also just remind you all about the messaging center. So Lakin was mentioning about the ability right now for coaches and admins, well, coaches specifically, to reach out to individuals, which you can definitely do as a coach. For our, can't talk and log in at the same time. For the messaging center right now, the only way for an admin level to send out messages is basically just by editing the current weekly campaign. So you can see right here, there's the default Spanish campaign and the default English campaign. So if you wanted to edit those campaigns to contain some, specific information from your state or your region, then you would just duplicate one of these campaigns and then you would edit it. So so this was like a copy that I made of the English one. And give it a second, it should all come together. So this is an example of one where you can change the image that's in it, you can change the content that's in it, etc. But this is what they will get each week. So here's the welcome message, here's week 1 message, here's week 2 message, etc. What we don't have right now, which is part of my response to Lakin, is we don't have the ability to just create a new email message and send it out to everyone or send it out to a select group, etc. That's one of the things that we're going to be adding, is the ability to create just an off-the-cuff ad hoc email and send it out to all your participants. So what you can do right now is just adjust those weekly messages and text. So you'll see the text over here, and then the email over here. Does that make
That's
sense?
super cool. Thank you.
Yeah,
no, that's-
sure. And definitely, so on that portal, that link that I shared in the chat, that has a link to all the recordings from previous calls. So definitely, check out some of those other features. I did go into YouTube and put a little description under each of the videos from our previous calls and kind of said what's covered in those calls. So, you can go into YouTube, look at the video and kind of see, oh, I didn't get the, description of that tool or that resource or that update. And so you can easily see that. Lakin has a question. If they don't opt in at first, can they change their mind? Yes. So, for every participant, including me as an admin, you can come in. All you have to do is click on the hello and then whatever the username is up here, and it'll bring you into manage your account. And from there, you can manage different things. So I'll just go ahead and log out and log back in as a participant so you can see this. So they can always adjust their settings afterwards or update their email from their page. So see, I click on the username up in the corner. So they can unsubscribe from reminders or weekly emails. They can adjust whether they want the messages in text, email, or both. And how do they want them, once a day, instantly. So this is specifically more probably for like if they're having a conversation with a coach, maybe they don't want to get the coach's every single message the coach sends, but they just want to get a summary once a day. So that's how they would adjust that. Does that make sense? Let's see. So is there a way we can go from admin account to a normal account without having 2 separate logins? And by normal, do you mean a participant account?
Yeah. So for me, I am like a coach for some of the groups. So like having to flip back and forth between accounts. Sometimes I get confused on which account I'm on. So I was just if there's like a way like in the future where it could be like the admin view and then a participant view. It also would help with like demoing the portal as well to some of our partners, just to be like, this is what we see and on the back end, and like if you need any help with anything, we can help here, but this is what you're gonna see, kind of thing.
I can put it on the wish list.
Okay.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, so generally I'll be logged in, you know, as an admin, and then I'll have an incognito window opened as a participant. I'll have to see. Yeah. Yep. I know that's definitely a challenge. And then let's see, we have a lot of groups for our portal, and the list is somewhat overwhelming. Is there a way this could be changed to a drop-down menu? I can put that on the wish list for sure.
Yeah, that would be great. Thank you.
One of the things that we've done recently is we changed our start here page. We had like a next steps page up here. And we changed that to start here. And just kind of created an image using Canva because I think one of the things that or comments that we received on the last call was that in the portal itself, there's not really any guidance of what to do for a participant. There is guidance on the page that people get to after they register. And there's guidance provided in the emails, but maybe somebody just wants that in the portal. So we did that for our page. And if this is something that all of you are interested in just kind of seeing what I included in here, I'm happy to put this image on the resources page, and you're free to just, you know, check it out and see if it's something that you want to put in too. They can also click on it and download it as well. Okay, any other questions from being in kind of right now? I'm in my participant view. Check. Is that it? Okay. Or from an admin participant, admin view. And just to get back, like into your comment about switching back and forth, I know that is a hassle to switch back and forth from participant to admin. But I want to commend you for doing that, because I think having two accounts and being able to show your partners what a participant sees is really, really helpful. And so definitely kudos to you for doing that, because I do think it's kind of a vague concept for people to really understand what a participant view looks like if you don't have one to show to them. So that's great. Okay, let's see. How do you add the start here button to a participant dashboard? Okay, so this start here is what's called a custom page. So I'm going to log back out, log back in. So on the admin page, there are two different pages that you can add to your portal, that you can build out and create for your portal. So let's see. And of course, now it's gonna, the switching back and forth is definitely like freaking my computer out. Let's see if I can get this going. My computer's like, it's a Monday. You're asking a lot of us. Nope, that's not what I want. Bear with me and my computer for a minute here. Okay, so on this manage tab, can everyone see this okay? Yeah, okay. great.
Yes.
So this is, I'm now back into my admin account. So if you click on manage, you'll see that there's a couple different things you can do here. So the custom page is that start, what I have as start here. You can have it say whatever you want it to say. So right here is where you can adjust what it says. Before I made this update, it said next steps, or important information, I think is what it said. So you can have it say whatever you want to say, and then you put the content in here. So this is that image that I created. I basically put this image on a hidden page on our OA Action Alliance website. And then I just added the link to the image here. So I put it right here. Is that helpful, Lakin?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, yeah. So you can also do the welcome page editor. So your participants can have a welcome page. Again, I just created an image in Canva, and then put that as our welcome page, our landing page. So you can do that, and you can of course do different ones for English or Spanish. Okay. Minnesota, to add to Lakin's comment about making groups as a drop-down list, I'm wondering if there would be a way to make a clear distinction between self-directed and group on the registration page. Right now, self-directed is listed under the group section, which we have found to be confusing to some people trying to register. Okay, so ideally, so Georgie, tell me a little bit more about that. What ideally would it look like?
So because self-directed is listed under group, I think that's what's causing confusion. So if it was in maybe a separate box, then the group, selections that you can register for.
Okay.
I don't know if that would make a difference, but I think because it's lumped into the different group sections we have going on, it's a little bit overwhelming to people trying to determine where they should go, especially for people that are trying to sign up for self-directed and not with a group class. So
Okay,
and maybe it's just ours and we haven't updated it, but so under group, that first one is self-directed, but then it's
Mm-hmm. Do you think if we renamed group,
I think that would help.
what would be
I don't know. I would have
title?
to think about what to rename it, but I think that could help.
Could self-directed just be above where it says group and then the everything else just be under group? That way there's a distinction of like, you definitely aren't in a group if you're doing self-directed. This is just solely your your portal, you working through it kind of thing.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking, but I think if it's easier as a first step to change just that title of group, I think that would be helpful at least.
So if we had it separate, we had self-directed ahead, above it, and then group below. If they clicked on self-directed, we would have to remove all the group. So that they couldn't click two places.
Couldn't click both. Yeah.
Right,
I hear
right.
what you're saying.
So as long as you don't think that would cause more confusion, like, oh, I clicked self-directed, but I'm wanting to do self-directed with the University of Minnesota Extension. Is there ever, so for some of our partners, all of the groups are self-directed. So they're not in person, they're not enhanced, etc. So
That's a really good point.
I'm trying to be all things to everyone, which is a nearly impossible place to be and nearly
Yeah.
impossible to succeed. So that's why it's helpful for me to have to talk these through with everyone.
Yeah.
So so you do in Minnesota, you do have some self-directed.
We do.
Okay.
And we've tried to do a few pushes, like communications pushes towards self-directed. Our groups are usually with organizations offering self-directed enhanced.
Mhm.
But then self-directed, we aim more at public facing communications that aren't as specific. So I don't know.
Yeah, we're kind of in the same boat in that aspect. Our groups are more of the self-directed enhance with a coach, or it's a senior center that wants to get some information on their seniors, so it's easier to group them together and do data exports that way. And then self-directed is more of just a generalized kind of thing.
In Oregon, we are one of those partners that it's just self-directed. And so we have, so I personally, we don't, what we do is we are just really descriptive in the types of groups that we create, because we do have a self-directed, but then we also have done some outreach with PEB OEB, which is benefits insurance for public employees. They administer the benefits. And so anyway, if they're a part of that group, that, or, they can sign up for that. And then we've also had some other groups where we've done some virtual events. And so if we want to track the registration into the self-directed portal because of the virtual like promotion events that we've done, then I will add a group, and then it's just really specific in the description of if you heard about the program through this, register here. And so like our self-directed group is just kind of the general rolling for anybody who might stumble across it because of they visited our website or they saw a social media post. They can sign up for it. So I don't know if that's helpful for the other teams that are using the portal for in-person and enhanced groups, but that's just kind of how we've organized it over here in Oregon.
Yeah, that's helpful, Ellen. And one thing we've talked about too is if we renamed self-directed to something I mean, we've been struggling with an alternative, but if it was called something like self-paced or self-guided,
Mhm.
something that's a little bit more plain language, if that would help. So I don't know if anyone has any ideas on that, but that's something that we've talked about too, is how we
Mhm.
make, yeah, how we lay it out.
Yeah, absolutely. And I was actually going to recommend that. So if you, um, go to your setup and under groups. So, right now you can't, I don't think you can rename this one. I think you can try, but it won't let you. But if you wanted to make this one inactive, so just close this one, you would just close it by clicking here and unclicking active and then update it. And then you add a new custom group down here, whatever you want to call it, whether that is self-guided or on your own or something like that, or Minnesota Department of Health, on your own or something like that. Then you could do it that way. That way,
Yeah.
self-directed doesn't even come up as an option.
Yeah, that makes sense. Thank you.
I mean, I don't know. It's definitely,
Would doing that mess up the data? Like, say you have people in the self-directed, you mark that group as inactive and make like a different, like,
mhm.
we'll just call it self-paced. And you move all those people over to self-paced. Is that going to mess their data up at all?
So you wouldn't be able to move all those people to self-paced. It would be going forward,
Okay.
right? So
So if people are
everyone,
still in it and it's marked as inactive, just new people can't sign up for it.
correct.
Okay, cool.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, if you all have an idea of what to call that, what to call the group instead of group, that's a super easy thing for our developer to change. If there is a word that resonates or just comes across better, we could go for that for sure. Great. Awesome questions and input, y'all. I really appreciate it. What else? Let's see. Anybody have any, hot news, anything going on, any campaigns they've run that have been particularly successful? Yeah, Ellen,
Oh, go ahead.
go
Ellen.
ahead. I just saw Ellen's hand raised, but were you guys thinking, Georgie?
I'll go next. Ellen can go first.
Okay, go ahead, Ellen.
Okay. I just alluded to it, but something that we did over in Oregon in January and in April was that we partnered with one of our health education teams, and that's here in Oregon, and we did a virtual webinar that promoted Walk with Ease. And also, and so what we did was, it was just this overview of, it was a presentation. It was like 45 minutes. What the event was, it was a 45-minute virtual event that included a presentation about Walk with Ease and all the ways that people could participate. And we had an event in English and in Spanish. And then during this event, it also included a cooking demo. And so we featured Food Hero, which is a social media campaign developed by Oregon State University to promote free nutrition resources. But data has shown that these cooking demos help draw people in. So
Yeah.
they learn about Walk with Ease, and then they also get some tasty recipe ideas out of it as well. And so the promotion leading up to the virtual events included a social media campaign and a text campaign to rural audiences. And then for Spanish, we used WhatsApp as well as Pinterest to help reach that audience a little bit better. And so, and then because of these events, we had 100 people register into the English Walk with These self-directed and in-person programs. And then for Spanish, we just promoted the Camina con Gusto self-directed portal, and we had 8 people register into that. And so these were some pilot projects that we did. But in the next year, hopefully we'll be doing them maybe like once a quarter or twice a year. I'm not quite sure yet what the capacity is, but it was really, I think it was a really successful pilot in getting the word out there about Walk with Ease, and also helping kind of expand our reach to people who might not have heard about it before. And so anyway, I wasn't sure
Great.
Allison had shared in the last quarter call about these virtual promotion events, but
Yeah, that's great. What a cool idea. Very cool.
Yeah.
Really
so it was a lot of work, but it was a lot of fun. And we have a really good foundation for building on them in the future.
right. That's great. Really cool. Would you be willing to share any of your marketing tools or anything? That would be really helpful.
Yeah.
Anything
I
you
don't see why not.
to promote the event. And I guess I didn't know that you could do like marketing on WhatsApp for an event like that. That's
Yeah, that's really not in my wheelhouse, so I'm not sure how that happened.
yeah, but that's really great.
Yeah, and then I mean, it was kind of like for the English promotion, we paid for so many phone numbers.
Okay.
And then there was a text that went out, and it just said, "Hey, I'm Ellen from OSU Extension, and I wanted to share about this very cool event coming up. I think you would be interested in. It's free." So we tried to make it not look as spammy as possible.
Yeah. That's great. Well, yeah, if you would be willing to share any of those and willing for me to share them with all the partners, that would be awesome.
For sure.
Thank you. Thanks for sharing. Georgie, you had something too?
Yeah, not as successful, but we did have a
Okay.
lot of learnings around a recent campaign.
Okay.
So back in 2022, the Minnesota Department of Health did a large communications campaign to promote the portal.
Mhm.
And that resulted in, I think, over 1,200 registrations. But we found that we weren't reaching the priority populations that we intended to reach.
Mhm.
So we took some learnings from that campaign, and we had a much smaller budget, but we worked with a local Latino media vendor, so that we were working with a trusted messenger
Yeah.
to do some of the promotion. And we haven't had much traction with our Camine con Gusto online group. So we were hoping that by using a trusted messenger, we could increase our activity in that group. So the first campaign that we did in 2022 was all via social media. So that was using Instagram and Facebook to do the promotion. And then we sent people to the Minnesota Department of Health website to learn more about the program. And then we sent people to the portal. This time we thought we might not lose as many people if we sent people directly from the advertisement to the portal. But I think that it was missing that like key information about what people are actually registering for.
Yeah.
So that's one of the things that we think went wrong, because we had there were quite a few impressions. So I think over 50 or 100,000 impressions, but we got like 2 registrations out of the entire campaign. And it was, I think the problem too was it wasn't via social media for this second campaign. It was just an ad banner that was posted on a news outlet that's it's called El Minnesota de Hoy, which is a news outlet that's specific to Minnesota. And I think that was part of it too, is it was just a really small banner. It didn't have much context for what the program was. And then it sent people directly to the portal, but that registration page, we didn't change anything about where people were landing. So it landed on that page where everyone has to fill out all that information.
Yeah.
So there were just a lot of things that we probably would do differently if we did this again in the future. But one of the things that I was excited to hear on the call today was the feature that hopefully will be available in the next year or so. But I was excited to hear about the administrator ability to register participants, because when we did a debrief with our cultural communications team, they underscore just like the in the Latino community in Minnesota especially, there's a lot of concern about sharing data and immigration status. So I think people were like, when they were sent to that page where you just enter a lot of information, it probably raised some red flags. And so a lot of the partners that we worked with in the past, like our Wise Women program, that have worked directly in the Hispanic and Latino communities in the Twin Cities, they've really helped participants with that registration. So assuring people how the data is going to be used, why we're having people register with their email. So that like point of connection is really important in getting those priority populations registered for the program if they're interested. So yeah, I think that'll be something we will, if we wanted to do another campaign that's specifically targeting Camine con Gusto, we would probably wait until that feature is available and work with either a Wise Woman program or another partner that's working directly in the community to facilitate those registrations. So those were, I mean, we had a lot of learnings, but that's just an update.
That's great. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, sometimes you learn them more from your failures or your challenges than you do from your successes. So, and I really appreciate you sharing that, because that's how we all learn about it for sure. Yeah. And I would definitely encourage you to use the welcome page so that people aren't just sent to the registration steps, so you can provide them with some context. I would say, of our portal partners, only maybe 3 have a welcome page. So I would really encourage you all to think about that. You know, you can, like, we have very, very basic information on ours, but this could certainly be a place where you could even add a link to someone speaking in Spanish and telling people, like a video, you know, somebody telling them why or how to register and why they should register and what the information is going to be used for. Kind of, as you mentioned, trying to gain that trust and ensure that people know, you know, that you're not just going to steal their information. turn them into the government or anything like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I can see how that would have been challenging for sure. If anybody needs any help setting up their welcome page or going through this, definitely let me know. There are directions on the resources page. But if you want just a one-on-one, set up a time with me and I'm happy to help walk you through that. Because I do think it's kind of a nice thing to add and kind of provide that context like you were saying. Yeah, that's great. Awesome. Anyone else have anything that they've been up to or are planning for the fall? I know the fall is a great time for people to be doing walk with ease. In the chat here. Yeah, sure. I'm happy to do that. So welcome page open up when a participant is logging in at the top of their screen in their portal. So the welcome page, once you put in, let me just show you what happens. So log out and I'll just put in our portal. So our portal is startwalkwiththese/OAA. So this is what they get to when they put in our portal. Startwalkwiththese.org/OAAA. This is how it comes up, is that image that I was just showing you. Just a little bit of an explanation. I make sure that, click the blue begin button below, and then they click begin. And so then it takes them to the registration page. If they come here and they've already registered, then they just log in, click the login button on the right, and then they log in. So that's kind of how that works. Let's see, double check. Okay, yeah. Right. So definitely let me know if y'all have more ideas, if you have ideas around what to call that group section of the registration. That would be helpful. I'm more than happy to think through what to call that. Because I can appreciate the confusion that can cause. And I know like Rhode Island for a while, they had, so many, let's see if they still, I think they had a lot of groups and they might have, yeah, they've updated it since, but they had like 25 groups here and it was unwieldy. So probably a drop down menu would have been easier for them. But anyway, okay, so thank you all for your participation today. Our next portal partners sharing call is going to be Monday, November 4th, because the following Monday when we would normally have it is Veterans Day. So please, I'll go ahead and send out a save the date for that day, but please go ahead and mark it for yourselves too. And I will send an email following up and sharing the link to the recording of today's call. So thank you so much. Appreciate it. Have a wonderful rest of y'all's summer, and I will talk to you again in November, if not before. Bye,
Thank you.
everyone.